The air hung heavy with the scent of lilies. Their delicate petals, pure and white, symbolized the love and purity of the occasion. Each bloom seemed to whisper promises of a beautiful future, a future that everyone in the church eagerly anticipated. Sunlight streamed through stained glass windows, painting the aisle in a kaleidoscope of colors. The vibrant hues danced on the floor, creating a magical pathway that led to the altar. It was as if the very light was celebrating the union about to take place, casting blessings in every shade imaginable. The old church buzzed with anticipation. Its ancient walls, steeped in history, seemed to hum with the energy of the day. The decorations, meticulously arranged, added a touch of elegance to the rustic charm of the building. Every corner of the church spoke of love and joy. Guests, dressed in their finest attire, smiled and whispered amongst themselves. Their conversations were filled with excitement and joy, each person sharing their hopes and dreams for the couple. The air was thick with the warmth of friendship and the bonds of family, making the occasion even more special. This was a day for celebration, a day for love. The atmosphere was electric, charged with the emotions of everyone present. It was a moment that would be etched in their memories forever, a testament to the power of love and the beauty of commitment. At the altar, the groom, a handsome man named Daniel, stood tall and proud. His heart raced with a mix of nerves and excitement. He had dreamed of this day for so long, and now it was finally here. His eyes sparkled with anticipation, reflecting the joy that filled his heart. He beamed, his eyes fixed on the entrance. Every second felt like an eternity as he waited for his bride. His mind raced with memories of their journey together, each moment leading up to this one. He knew that the sight of her would take his breath away, just as it had the first time they met. He was about to marry the woman of his dreams, a vision in white named Isabella. As she entered the church, all eyes turned to her. She moved with grace and elegance, her dress flowing like a river of silk. Her smile lit up the room, and in that moment, she was the embodiment of beauty and love. Today marked the beginning of their forever. As they stood at the altar hand in hand, they knew that this was just the start of their journey. Their love had brought them to this point, and it would carry them through whatever the future held. Surrounded by their loved ones, they felt an overwhelming sense of gratitude and joy. This was their moment, a celebration of their love, and nothing could interrupt the happiness they felt in their hearts. Father Michael, a kind-faced man with wisdom etched into his features, observed the scene. He had witnessed countless weddings in his years of service, each unique, each a testament to the power of love. He smiled, his heart warming at the sight of Daniel's uncontainable joy. His gaze drifted across the expectant faces in the pews. He saw the bride's mother, her eyes shimmering with tears. He saw the groom's best man, his face etched with anxiety, and then he saw her. Isabella, radiant in her white gown, glided down the aisle, her arm linked with her father's. Her veil, a delicate lace masterpiece, concealed her face, adding to the mystique of the moment. But something wasn't right. Father Michael's breath hitched. He noticed a glint of metal beneath the hem of her dress, a flash of something that shouldn't be there. It was a shackle, cold and unforgiving, starkly out of place against the purity of her white gown. His heart pounded against his ribs. A wave of nausea washed over Father Michael. The air felt thick, almost suffocating as he stood there, grappling with the weight of the moment. His heart pounded in his chest, each beat echoing the gravity of the decision he was about to make. The world around him seemed to blur, the faces of the congregation merging into a sea of expectant eyes. He could feel their anticipation, their trust in him to guide them through this sacred ceremony. But how could he, when his own faith was wavering? He tried to rationalize what he was seeing. The logical part of his mind sought explanations, grasping at straws to make sense of the inexplicable. Was it a mere illusion, a trick of the light playing on his senses, or perhaps his mind, fatigued by the weight of his duties, was conjuring shadows where there were none? He had always prided himself on his rationality, his ability to remain grounded in the face of uncertainty. But this was different. Perhaps it was a trick of the light, a figment of his imagination. Yet the more he tried to dismiss it, the more it gnawed at him, an insistent whisper in the back of his mind. He had seen many things in his years of service, witnessed moments of profound faith and deep despair, but never had he felt such a profound sense of unease. It was as if the very air around him was charged with an unseen tension, a silent storm brewing just beneath the surface. But deep down, he knew better. His mind raced. Memories of past ceremonies flashed before his eyes, moments of joy and sorrow, of love and loss. He had always been a pillar of strength for his congregation, a beacon of hope in their darkest hours. But now, standing at the precipice of this moment, he felt an unfamiliar sense of vulnerability. The weight of his responsibility pressed down on him, a heavy mantle he was no longer sure he could bear. Should he proceed as if nothing was amiss? The question echoed in his mind, a relentless refrain that refused to be silenced. He had always believed in the sanctity of his duty, in the importance of upholding the traditions and rituals that had been passed down through generations. But now, faced with this moment of truth, he found himself questioning everything he had ever known. Could he, in good conscience, continue with the ceremony, knowing that something was deeply, fundamentally wrong? Could he, in good conscience, unite these two souls while such a heavy secret lingered in the air? The weight of the secret pressed down on him, a tangible presence that seemed to fill the room. He had always believed in the power of truth, in the importance of honesty and integrity. But now, faced with the reality of the situation, he found himself paralyzed by doubt. The words he had prepared, the vows he was meant to recite, felt hollow and meaningless in the face of the truth he was hiding. His gaze met Isabella's, or rather, the space where her eyes should be behind the veil. Her presence, usually a source of comfort and strength, now seemed to amplify his sense of unease. He could see the trust in her eyes, the faith she had placed in him to guide her through this sacred moment. But how could he, when his own faith was crumbling? The veil, a symbol of purity and innocence, now felt like a barrier, a reminder of the truth he was hiding. He felt a chill run down his spine. The room, once warm and inviting, now felt cold and unwelcoming. The faces of the congregation, once familiar and comforting, now seemed distant and alien. He could feel their eyes on him, their silent questions and unspoken doubts. The weight of their expectations pressed down on him, a heavy burden he was no longer sure he could carry. The chill in the air seemed to seep into his very bones, a physical manifestation of the doubt and fear that gripped his heart. He had to do something. The realization hit him with the force of a tidal wave, a sudden, undeniable truth that could no longer be ignored. He could not, in good conscience, continue with the ceremony. The weight of the secret, the burden of the truth, was too much to bear. He had to act, to speak, to bring the truth to light, no matter the consequences. The decision made, he felt a strange sense of calm wash over him, a clarity of purpose that had been missing for so long. He took a deep breath, steeling himself for what was to come, and stepped forward, ready to face the moment of truth. As Isabella reached the altar, a hush fell over the room. Every eye was on them, the silence amplifying the solemnity of the moment. And then, Father Michael spoke. "Wait," he said, his voice barely a whisper. The word echoed through the silence, heavy with unspoken meaning. The guests gasped, murmuring amongst themselves. Daniel, his face etched with confusion, turned towards the priest. "Isabella," Father Michael began, his voice firm despite the tremor in his heart, "can you show me your feet?" The request hung in the air, heavy and unexpected. A collective gasp rippled through the church. Isabella froze, her hand tightening around her father's arm. Slowly she lifted her veil, her face pale and drawn. Her eyes, wide with a mixture of fear and defiance, met Father Michael's. She didn't speak, but the answer was written all over her face. "What is the meaning of this, Father?" Daniel's voice boomed through the stunned silence. His face, once lit with joy, was now contorted in confusion and hurt. Before Father Michael could answer, two figures emerged from the back of the church. They were dressed in plain clothes, but the badges clipped to their belts were unmistakable. Police officers. Their eyes scanned the crowd, finally settling on Isabella. The officers moved swiftly, separating Isabella from her father and placing her under arrest. The charges, they announced, were kidnapping and fraud. The words hung in the air, sharp and ugly, shattering the illusion of the perfect wedding day. The guests watched in stunned silence as Isabella, her face now devoid of all pretense, was led away. The weight of her deception hung heavy in the air, a stark contrast to the joyous celebration that had just moments ago filled the church. The wedding had been a sham, a carefully constructed facade. The guests, dressed in their finest attire, had gathered to celebrate what they believed was a union of love and trust. The sun shone brightly, casting a warm glow over the picturesque outdoor setting. Laughter and joy filled the air as friends and family exchanged pleasantries, completely unaware of the storm that was about to unfold. Concealing a darker truth, Isabella, it turned out, was not who she claimed to be. She had woven a web of lies, meticulously crafting a false identity that had deceived everyone, including her fiancé. Her true intentions were shrouded in mystery, but the revelation of her deceit sent shockwaves through the crowd. Whispers and gasps echoed as the truth came to light, leaving everyone in a state of disbelief. The shackle, a chilling symbol of her crimes, had betrayed her. It was a stark reminder of the consequences of her actions. The authorities had been closing in on her for months, and the wedding was the perfect opportunity to apprehend her. As the handcuffs clicked into place, the gravity of her situation became painfully clear. Her once carefully maintained facade crumbled, revealing the true extent of her deception. In the aftermath, Father Michael found himself reflecting on the day's events. He had officiated countless weddings, but none had ever taken such a dramatic turn. As he walked through the churchyard, the weight of the day's revelations pressed heavily on his mind. He pondered the nature of trust and the ease with which it could be shattered. The serene surroundings offered little solace as he grappled with the implications of what had transpired. He had witnessed the fragility of trust, the delicate threads that held relationships together. The betrayal had left deep scars, not just on the groom, but on everyone who had been a part of the charade. Friends and family members felt the sting of deception, their faith in one another shaken. The once joyous occasion had turned into a somber reminder of the vulnerability inherent in human connections, the devastating consequences of deceit. Lies, no matter how well-intentioned or cleverly disguised, had a way of unraveling the very fabric of trust. The aftermath of Isabella's deception was a testament to this harsh reality. People who had once shared laughter and love now found themselves grappling with feelings of betrayal and despair. The emotional toll was palpable, a stark contrast to the happiness that had once filled the air. But he had also been reminded of the power of intuition, the subtle yet powerful inner voice that often guided one's actions. Father Michael had always believed in the importance of listening to one's gut feeling, and this incident only reinforced that belief. Despite the chaos and heartbreak, there was a sense of relief that the truth had finally come to light. It was a bittersweet reminder that sometimes, intuition could be a guiding light in the darkest of times. The importance of trusting one's gut feeling, even when it meant disrupting a sacred ceremony. The decision to confront Isabella had not been easy, but it had been necessary. Father Michael knew that the sanctity of the ceremony could not overshadow the need for truth and justice. The courage to act on intuition, even in the face of uncertainty, was a lesson that would stay with him forever. It was a testament to the strength of the human spirit and the enduring quest for truth, even when it meant disrupting a sacred ceremony. As the sun set, casting a warm glow over the empty church aisle, Father Michael felt a sense of closure. The day's events had been a harsh reminder of the complexities of human nature, but they had also reaffirmed his faith in the power of truth. The church, now bathed in the soft light of the setting sun, stood as a silent witness to the lessons learned and the resilience of the human spirit.